Okay, so let's start off with our basic relaxation pose. So I'm kind of winging it a little bit with equipment today, but you have a bolster for underneath your knees or some cushions for underneath your knees, and then perhaps a couple of cushions just to support your feet, and then just come down onto the floor just with your legs slightly elevated. So just listen to the sound of your breath. So the palms of your hands face up towards the ceiling. Just have the arms resting down on the floor. Allow your body to become heavy. Allow your arms to gently release and relax, unhooking the muscles of your arms, unhooking the muscles of your legs. Give yourself permission to be here. Give yourself permission to relax. Just observe where your body makes contact with the floor. So where you make contact with the straight line of the floor, and where the cushion underneath your head supports the back of your neck and your head, and the bolster underneath your knees just softens out the lumbar spine. Listen to the sound of your breath, observing that the in-breath and the out-breath sound different. The in-breath sound originates at the nostrils, and the sound of the out-breath originates at the back of your throat. Just give yourself permission to relax and release into the floor. So just observe your breath as it enters and as it exits. And consciously draw your attention into the soles of your feet. Draw your attention into the soles of your feet so that the skin of the soles of the feet feel like it comes alive a little. Observe the skin of the soles of your feet, and then then consciously relax the soles of your feet. Let the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bone of the underside of the foot completely relax. Draw your attention to the tops of your feet. Becoming conscious of the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bone of the tops of the feet. And then consciously allow the tops of the feet to completely relax. Often relaxation doesn't come naturally, so just observe the feeling of the skin and let the skin soften. Draw your attention into the shins, into the shin bones. And gently allow the shin bones to sink into the bed of the calf muscle. Draw your attention into the fronts of the thighs. And then consciously allow the fronts of the thighs to sink down into the backs of the thighs. Letting the thigh muscles completely relax. Draw your attention to the pelvis and allow the pelvic region to just soften and lie on the support of the floor. Draw your attention into the torso. Allowing the torso to gently release and expand. Just letting go of the muscles around the ribs, around the back, around the abdomen, around the armpits. Draw your attention into your arms. Being conscious of how the upper arms and the lower arms are supported by the floor. Allowing your arms to release into the floor, relaxing the muscles of the arms, relaxing the muscles of the hands and of the fingers. Draw your attention to your neck and into the skull. And consciously soften the back of the neck into the floor. Soften the skin over the skull, drawing from the crown of the head down towards the ears and the back of the neck, down towards the forehead, softening the muscles of the face. And allow yourself to just release down into the floor. So as we progress into the practice, I'll speak less and less, just to give you the opportunity to relax rather than listen. Releasing the inner ear, release the jaw, soften your tongue, soften your throat. Giving yourself the permission to relax. Often we constantly give ourselves things to do, but we rarely give ourselves permission to completely relax and let go. And that is what we get when we practice our restorative yoga. Gently wriggle your fingers, wriggle your toes, and then bring your feet onto your left, onto your bolster. Have the feet apart and your knees together. And just enjoy the feeling of your lower back being supported by the floor. Just let the lower back area soften into the floor. Remember that this time is just for you to rejuvenate your energy and to give your body a little rest in the middle of the day so that your evening will feel calmer, energized. So the only work here is to overcome the urge to be doing something. Just use this practice to learn how to let go and relax. Okay, when you're ready, just gently bring your knees in towards your chest and roll over onto your side and sit yourself up. So we're going to do a really nice supported side bend. So you have your cushions or your bolster in the kind of middle of your mat, but you might want to give yourself a little bit of extra height here, so you can just give yourself a good level of height underneath your bolster, so you can pile up your bolsters or your cushions nice and high, and then you basically just come onto your side and then bring your this kind of abdominal region, you bring it onto the bolster, and then you stretch your legs out. So you just come down onto the floor, stretch your legs out, and then just stretch your arms out, and then just stay here. So this is really nice. So this pose requires a little bit more kind of holding than the previous pose, but you get this tremendous stretch along the upper side of the body. So the more you can kind of prop yourself up, the better. So it gives you lots of space in the upper abdominal region. So you can just straighten your legs, but you can just let one leg sit behind the other. You can soften the legs, just let the legs release. The more you release into this, the more you get the stretch on the upper side of the body. It can feel quite strong on the side of the body that's being supported. So if it feels too strong, then straighten your legs rather than release them. So we're just going to stay here for a couple of minutes, just allowing the bolster to support your body. So with this pose, there's just a little bit of gentle extension. So the general rule here is that if the pose gives you discomfort, you don't just lay there and just kind of sit it out, just hoping that the discomfort will diminish. You come out of the pose and you give yourself more support or less support so that you can stay in the pose without discomfort. Discomfort absolutely shouldn't be part of restorative yoga. So you try not to roll onto your front, try and stay balancing on the side of the abdomen. Breathing evenly. Does that feel right, Sarah? Yeah. Okay, when you're ready, just bend your knees and then bring your arms back to the side of the body and then go over onto the other side. Does this feel all right where you've had your treatment today? Does it feel all right where you've had your treatment? Is it? Yeah. So just come over onto the other side. So it will always feel different on one side. The side that's just up towards the ceiling suddenly feels quite nice on the bolster. So just stretch yourself out. Just a gentle stretch. So we're not trying to deeply extend, it's just a gentle, relaxing stretch. So if the pose gives you discomfort of any type, then don't suffer it. Bring yourself out of the pose. Okay, and then just bring your top arm to rest on the upper body, and then bring yourself over up onto your elbow, and then just sit yourself up. Just come into a cross-leg position for a moment. Just hold onto your knees, just feel how those side ribs open up. Breathing evenly and deeply, listening to the sound of the breath. So we're going to keep our bolster pretty much where it is, but you don't want it as high. So you might want it quite low. So you might want, so Sarah, maybe for you, you might want it to be quite kind of low. So just maybe one cushion for you. So we can do our supported side stretch. So I'll just show you. So you lengthen the side along the bolster so that the bolster is in the kind of armpit chest region. And then you might want a pillow or support for your head. So you don't want your head to kind of feel like it's collapsing down. This arm that's along the floor is in a little right angle, and then you can either stay with your arm on the hip like this, or you can stretch your arm over your ear and then rest down into the floor. So your legs are bent, and then just lengthen your arms over your head. Breathe in nice and softly, in through the nose and out through the nose. Just feel right. Yep. So this pose just gives you lots of release in your shoulders and your neck. So if you get stiff shoulders and neck, then this pose is really perfect. So again, there should be no effort. Effort is for other types of yoga. This is purely a practice in relaxation. So take deep inhalations, observing how the chest expands with the in-breath, feeling that the intercostal muscles between the ribs expand. So breathe deeply down to the bottom of the lungs. Feel the chest expand upwards and outwards with the in-breath. So if at any stage the pose feels uncomfortable, then adjust so that it feels comfortable, or if the arm over your head starts to feel uncomfortable or creates discomfort, then just rest the top arm on on the hip or on the side ribs. Just enjoying the silence and this opportunity to just relax and let go. No other demands on the body other than to give yourself permission to relax. The only demand on the body is to relax. Okay, when you're ready, just bring that top arm just to rest on the upper ribs. And push your elbow into the floor, just roll yourself up into a seated position and then come into just cross legs. Just again, just observe the difference in the two sides of the body. Observe how your energy is starting to just gently restore. And then come over onto your other side. So just sitting on the other hip, just lengthening your side ribs along, supporting the armpit chest with your bolster, supporting your head with the cushions, keeping your arm that's on the floor in just a gentle right angle. And then again, either keep your upper arm just resting on the hip, or you can stretch the arm over your ear and then release your arm down onto the floor. You can always put some cushions underneath your hand if your hand doesn't reach the floor easily. Again, draw your attention into your breath. So again, just observing how the pose feels and just adjusting if it's uncomfortable. Remember, you can always just rest your upper arm on the side of the body. So remember, never riding out discomfort, adjusting the position until the discomfort disappears. Just allowing yourself just to relax into the pose. Apologies for that. Okay, just gently bring the top arm just to rest back on the upper side of the rib cage, and then push the elbow into the floor and then bring yourself up into a seated position. Apologies for Nirvana there. That's not very restorative, is it? But I thought I'd had my phone on silent, so apologies for that. So we're just going to do our little spinal twist. So again, you can do this with I'll show you. So you can have your bolster, so the hip is close to the bolster, you lift and open the chest, and then lengthen the chest along the floor, along bolster, and then just rest down into the floor. So you use a bolster, Sarah, for this, because this will be nice. And you might want to put, kind of raise it up even higher. So use the bolster.
Do you want these?
Yeah, I'll put those on. So just something that's going to kind of support you. So sit with your hip close to the bolster, and then just turn the chest, face the lift, and then rest your head on one side, and then bring your elbows either side of the lift. Have your elbows wide enough apart so that you're not supporting your weight with your elbows. Rest your head on the side so that your chin is facing in the same direction as your knees. Just listen to the sound of the breath. So again, you'd find a position that is sustainable. So especially if this is the first time you've done it, if the lifts are too high or too low, you can adjust that. If it feels good, then just release into it. So this little side support, this little spinal twist, just eases out tensions from your lower back. Does this feel right, Sarah? This is one of my favourite poses. Something deeply comforting, without using the lift to release the body. Allow the shoulders to soften. Allow the neck to soften. To the bolster underneath the chest just gives you space in the back of the neck and in the shoulders. Softening the shoulders and the spine out into the arms. Okay. Just cherishing the silence, allowing the ears, the inner ears to relax. Okay, bring your hands underneath your shoulders and then push yourself up into a seated position. Just again, sitting cross legs or whatever pose is whatever seated pose is comfortable. And then just come over onto your other side so the other hip is close to the end of the bolster. And again, lift and open the chest as you drive the chest along the bolster so the chest faces down onto the bolster. And then rest your head on the other side and then allow yourself to release. Remember, bring your elbows wide enough apart so that you're not supporting your weight with your arms. You're just bringing weight down onto the bolster. Again, softening your shoulders, softening your arms. Just feeling the lower back. It's a really nice opening action. Okay, and then bring your hands underneath your shoulders, push yourself up into a seated position, and then just use your bolster underneath your back and just stretch your legs out. If it feels too uncomfortable in your back, you can just lay directly on the floor and have the bolster underneath your knees. Otherwise, just use the lift of the bolster to open the chest. So our final heart pose. So we've worked to gently open out and ease tension from the lower back. Okay, when you're ready, just gently wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, bend your knees, and then just roll yourself off, lift. And then just sit yourself in cross legs or just any position that feels comfortable. Bring your hands into Namaste. Draw your breath in through your nose, down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you've released through your practice. Perceiving that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions, the forward bends, twists, the inversions bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then very gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel as though you've just stretched yourself out a little and given yourself some gentle release. So thank you very much.